There comes a time in life when the world around us begins to quiet. The children are grown, the career chapters are closed, the days move slower, and the nights stretch a little longer. And in that stillness, we start to hear the voice we'd long ignored, the voice of our own heart. And often what it says is not easy to hear. You might find yourself thinking about things you haven't thought about in years. Moments from your past you thought you buried, choices you made, people you hurt, things you didn't do but wish you had. And suddenly, though those memories aren't just shadows from long ago, they're vivid, they're loud, and they're asking something of you. You may believe you've moved on, you've grown, you've changed, you've lived a full life, but forgiveness, true forgiveness, especially of yourself, is not just about moving forward. It's about making peace with what's behind you. And sometimes, without even realizing it, we carry old wounds like they're part of who we are. So if you've ever wondered why certain memories still sting, or why your heart feels heavier than it should, it might be time to ask yourself a quiet but powerful question. Have I truly forgiven myself? Let's walk through this together, not in judgment, not to reopen old pain, but to gently understand, to hold up a mirror with kindness and say, it's okay, it's time now. Sign 1. You keep replaying what-if scenarios. Have you ever found yourself lying awake at night, not really thinking, but reliving? Scenes from years ago start playing in your mind like an old film. Only you're not watching, you're rewriting. What if I had done things differently? What if I had spoken up? What if I hadn't walked away? What if I had just tried harder? Those thoughts seem harmless at first, but over time they begin to wrap around your spirit like a net. What you think is reflection is really self-punishment. The past becomes a loop, and in that loop you lose yourself. This isn't about understanding what happened anymore. It's about refusing to accept that you did the best you could with who you were and what you knew. You hold on to that moment because you think if you let go, you're letting yourself off the hook. But there's wisdom in this. You can't heal while clutching the sharp edges of your own regret. So if you find yourself stuck in the land of what if, it's not your memory that's speaking. It's your heart asking to be forgiven. You don't need to rewrite the story. You just need to love the person who lived through it. Now let's keep going, because often these signs are intertwined, and one leads right into another in ways we don't even notice. Sign 2. You still feel unworthy of peace. There's something you may have felt before, maybe you still feel it now. Life finally begins to calm down. Things start falling into place. You have moments of stillness, of joy. But instead of peace, you feel uneasy, like you're waiting for something to go wrong. And deep down, that discomfort is rooted in one thought. I don't deserve this. Not after what I did. Not after the mistakes I made. Not after the people I disappointed. You carry your guilt like armor, even when no one is fighting you anymore. It's like your heart believes peace is something earned, not something given. But friend, peace doesn't have to be earned. Peace is a gift. It's the natural companion of forgiveness. It's what arrives when you finally stop keeping score with yourself. You are not here to suffer in silence. You're not here to forever pay for what's already past. You are worthy of rest, worthy of softness, worthy of beginning again. So if joy makes you nervous and stillness makes you squirm, that's a sign your soul is still waiting for permission to be free, and only you can give it. And when we hold that tension inside, that fear of peace, it often spills over into the ways we move through the world. Let's talk about how that shows up next. Sign 3. You avoid certain people or places. There's a street you don't drive down anymore, a name you skip over in conversations, a photo you tucked away and haven't looked at in years. You tell yourself it's because you've moved on, but the truth is some things are too painful to face. Avoidance can be quiet. polite even. You smile and say, I just don't go there anymore. But what you really mean is, I don't want to remember who I was then. Sometimes it's not even about others. It's about the part of yourself that lived in that space. And when you haven't forgiven yourself, that part feels unbearable to meet again. But you can't fully move forward while tiptoeing around your own past. Avoidance doesn't mean healing. It just means the pain is still sharp enough to cut. It means that moment, that place, that memory, it still holds power over you. Real forgiveness lets you walk back into old spaces with a soft heart. Not because it doesn't hurt anymore, but because you've chosen to meet yourself there with compassion instead of blame. And when you've been avoiding for so long, it becomes harder to receive the very thing you need most. That brings us into the next sign. Sign 4. You struggle to accept kindness. When someone tells you you're a good person, do you believe them? When someone thanks you for being there, do you feel worthy of their gratitude? Or does part of you feel like a fraud? Like if they really knew everything, they'd take those words back. It's a quiet kind of self-rejection, the kind that shows up in how you shrink from compliments, how you deflect love, how you stay on the outside of affection because it feels safer than letting it in. This is what shame does. It builds a wall between you and the kindness meant for you, and at the core of that shame is usually an old wound that hasn't been forgiven. You might think it's humility, but it's not. It's pain. It's that small voice that says, I don't deserve to be treated well. I messed up. I failed. I'm not enough. But that voice isn't telling the truth. It's just repeating an old story you haven't rewritten yet. So if you find yourself backing away when others lean in, if kindness makes you uncomfortable, that's your sign. You've still got a piece of yourself you're unwilling to love, and that piece needs you more than anyone else ever will. And when you can't accept kindness from others, it's often because you haven't found a way to be kind to yourself. This leads us into something even deeper. Sign 5. You define yourself by your mistakes. When you look back on your life, what comes to mind first? Is it the good you've done, the people you've loved, the resilience that carried you through? Or do you think first about the things you wish you could undo? Sometimes we hold our mistakes so tightly they become our name. We wear them like a badge, not because we're proud, but because we've convinced ourselves that's all we are. But you are not your worst day. You are not the hurt you caused or the dreams that didn't come true. You are not the apology you never got to give. You are the person who lived through it, who woke up the next day, who tried again, even if no one saw it. Self-forgiveness begins with remembering the full picture of who you are, not just the moments of regret, but the strength it took to carry them, the way you kept loving, the way you kept showing up. If your identity is still tied to an old mistake, it's time to loosen that rope. Let it fall away. And remember, you are more than your history. You are the one who survived it. And finally, there's one sign that touches all the others. One that often reveals just how tender the wound still is. Sign 6, you can't speak about it without tearing up. There are stories you've told 100 times, and yet every time you get to that one part, your voice breaks, your throat tightens, your eyes fill. You tell yourself you're over it, that it's in the past, but the tears betray you. The emotion is still alive, still raw, still asking to be heard, and that's okay. That's not failure. That's not weakness. That's a signal. There's still something there that needs your love, not your silence, not your shame, your love. Forgiveness isn't about never feeling pain again. It's about changing your relationship to that pain. It's about being able to say, yes, this hurt me, but it no longer controls me. If you can't speak about it without breaking, it doesn't mean you haven't healed at all. It just means a part of you is still waiting for your full attention, for your acceptance, for your forgiveness. So let the tears come, let the truth rise, and don't run from it. Stay with it. That's how the healing begins. And now, with all that we've walked through, we come to the place where the path turns inward, where all signs point home. Finally, the grace of self-forgiveness. You've carried so much, and through it all, you've loved, you've grown, you've stayed, even when it was hard, especially when it was hard. Forgiving yourself is not about pretending you've never made mistakes. It's it's about recognizing that those mistakes do not define the totality of who you are. You are not your shame. You are not your silence. You are not your sorrow. You are someone who kept going, who kept trying, who still believes in love even after heartbreak, who still believes in healing even after hurting. The grace of self-forgiveness is not something you find outside yourself. It's something you uncover within. It's the quiet decision to stop holding yourself hostage. It's the whisper that says, I'm allowed to rest now. I'm allowed to begin again. If this spoke to you, I'd love for you to be part of this growing community. Go ahead and like, subscribe, and share your thoughts in the comments. This space is for healing, for reflection, for real connection. Thank you for being here.